Hello, welcome back to my channel. My name is Carly Stevens. I'm the author of the Tanyuin Academy series, and this is English Nerd. So recently, I finished the third book in the Tanyuin Academy series, Kingdoms on Fire, and beta readers are reading it right now, giving me some feedback, and that's been a really exciting process. Things have been going really well, but I wanted today to talk about how to write endings, because I struggled with this with Kingdoms on Fire. I spent like a year thinking about endings and considering how best to end this trilogy that matters so much to me. So we all like a good ending, not only of books and movies and shows, but even in sporting events. There's something about a really amazing ending. You've listened to this incredible song and it leaves you with this final note. So it's a powerful thing, not only to begin strong and to continue strong, which can be difficult, but also to end in a way that's going to matter to your audience. If you have a bad ending to your book, then you can completely lose the people who otherwise would have enjoyed it. So here are the things that I've learned about endings over the last year that I think have paid off. So I just wanted to give a shout out to this book, which was really helpful for me. The last 50 pages, The Art and Craft of Unforgettable Endings by James Scott Bell. This kind of solidified some of the things that I'd been observing in the endings of books that I enjoyed, and movies and whatnot. So take a look at that. I'll put a link in the description box below. So the first thing that I think you should do as you're considering an ending to your book or to your series is to consider your promises. Maybe you didn't make verbal promises to your readers, but there are different ways that you can non-verbally make promises that you really should follow through on. So for instance, there can be genre-related promises. If you're writing a romance, for instance, there's the implied promise of a happy ending. Not in all romantic stories, of course, but if you are just pure romance, that's what people are looking for. That's what people want. If you have a goal that's a main goal through the entire story, you don't want to leave that unaddressed. There are different ways that you can deal with it, of course, but you do need to deal with that goal. Did they get it? Did they not get it? Do we have kind of a roadmap for whether or not they do in an open ending? So I'm not saying that you have to have a happy ending. That's not necessarily the case. Some great endings are sad or melancholy or open, but you do need to address those things that you plant at the beginning and have some kind of conclusion or resolution for those things. If you give hints early on about something that's going to happen and then you never really return to that idea, then your readers will probably be left unsatisfied. So go back to the beginning of your story and consider what are some of those things that your readers are expecting to have you follow up on. Make sure that you don't leave any massive loose ends. Beta readers can be really helpful for this. Early in some early chapters and mid chapters, I tend to ask the question, what do you expect to see? What are you looking forward to? That kind of thing, and it can give you good feedback on what those promises are that you really ought to follow up on. Another thing that I did was just to consider what I wanted to happen. What are things that I enjoy in endings, or in books in general? What are good endings and what are bad endings, and what do I like and what do I not like? Preference is a legitimate thing, of course. You're going to write what you prefer. So I considered some endings that I thought didn't really work, what I didn't want to do. So for instance, in The Sign of Four by Sherlock Holmes, not all of his stories and novels have bad endings. Most of them have great endings, but The Sign of Four, the ending is really weird and doesn't match the rest of the story. I didn't like it. So I thought, okay, I don't want to do anything like that. I'm going to try to be good, by the way, and not spoil too much. Or if I'm about to spoil something, you can just, I'll let you know, and then you can skip ahead. So I thought, okay, I don't want the ending to be something that is in a different time with different characters. Obviously, that doesn't really work for my book. Another ending that I've never really liked is from The True Confessions of Charlotte Doyle. This was one of my very favorite books when I was 13, and I still like it now. It's a great book until the ending. I felt like the ending did not actually match up with reality. It needed to be something more realistic, I thought. So I was considering, okay, I want something that is going to be realistic. So then I started looking at endings that I did really like. One that echoed with me as I was preparing to write Kingdoms on Fire was Avengers Endgame. I loved that ending, and I wanted to do something kind of like that. Some other endings that I enjoy, if you're looking for books that have really satisfying endings, would be A Tale of Two Cities. I did a whole big series on this, which you may or may not have seen, but A Tale of Two Cities has an amazing ending. It wraps everything up so beautifully, and it fulfills those promises that are planted at the beginning. Just so excellent. Another book that I looked at even more than that as a kind of blueprint for how I wanted my ending to look was Winter, which is the last book in the Lunar Chronicles series by Marissa Meyer. This one is it's a huge story about well, I don't want to spoil things. But it takes all the characters that you've learned to love so far, Cinder and Kai and Cress and Thorn and all these people that you enjoy, and it makes them face all of their fears, their difficulties, and all the main conflict, those main goals come to a head, and it really is a beautifully satisfying ending. Another ending that I really enjoyed was from The Scorpio Races by Maggie Stiefvater. It's not just the ending, it's the last sentence. I thought that it was just the perfect last sentence. So I know I got a little bit off track there, maybe with my main point, which is consider the things that you'd like to see. So I looked not only at these endings that I thought worked and didn't work, but I also literally listed, hey, these are moments that I really like. I like moments of tension between characters. I like life or death kinds of situations. I like sacrifice. I like, just big and small things that I enjoyed. And I figured out what could I reasonably include. Okay, so the next more important thing that I think good endings need to have is that characters need to earn their endings, whatever it is, no matter what genre you're looking at, the characters need to earn their endings. So by that I mean, you can't make it too easy for the characters, or it's going to not have that satisfying feeling for your audience. At least I don't think that I've really seen that. So an example of a type of ending that doesn't really work, doesn't have the characters earn their ending, is the Deus Ex Machina ending, where all of a sudden someone or something swoops in, saves the main character, saves the day, and there you go, no big deal, everything's taken care of. You want to see struggle, and you want to see people come out on the other side. So much of what people go to stories to experience is that overcoming of difficulties. Not every single person, but I think most people. You don't want to give people easy outs. Exactly. Even if you're writing a romance that has a happy ending, you don't want it to be like, well, they met, they fell in love, and there were really no major obstacles in the way that they had to overcome. Even if it's something small, having that obstacle and then overcoming it is what is going to give people that sigh of relief for their ending. Another thing that you want to avoid doing, I would recommend, is changing the characters' personalities to fit the ending, which is another way of making it too easy, making them not earn their ending. Yes, characters will change throughout the course of your story, But, I mean, think about yourself. Maybe you've changed quite a bit over the years, but it's not like it was just flipping a switch and you were a different person. You still were yourself, but maybe you grew in a particular way. This is something that I didn't like about The True Confessions of Charlotte Doyle. She didn't stay true to the character at the very end. Everything was really consistent, really awesome until the last chapter or two, and then it just fell to pieces. So I still do like the book, but I consider the ending not what really happened. I'm not quite sure what really happened, but it wasn't the ending that was given here. That was one thing that I wanted to keep in mind as I was writing Kingdoms on Fire. I have these kind of difficult personality types to conclude. How do you not everybody gets a redemption arc, but if you have a redemption arc, say, for a villain, you don't want them to go from bad to good just at the flip of a switch, because nobody's going to believe that. You don't want it to be like, Santa Claus is Coming to Town, that weird kind of stop motion movie. So there's the winter warlock and he's all evil, and then suddenly somebody's nice to him and then he turns into this gentle, kind. It's hilarious for that terrible movie, but that's not what you want, I assume, for your characters. We need to believe their change. So those are some ways that you can have characters earn their endings. Make sure that they stay true to their character, that they're the ones who have to overcome, and you don't give them a super easy out. And then, finally, consider how you want to leave your audience. What is the feeling that you want to leave them with? Do you want them to smile and be happy? Do you want them to be thoughtful? Do you want them to have a shiver down their spine? Because they're all creeped out? Do you want them to cry, because they're moved? What is that lingering note that you want the audience to be left with, and kind of funnel your ending toward that feeling? In my opinion, this was one of the problems with Last Jedi, from the new Star Wars trilogy. Now, I know that there are lots of different opinions about The Last Jedi. I generally enjoyed it. I think that there were some really amazing scenes in there. I love the throne room fight, for instance. I thought that was really cool. But it was kind of piecemeal, and at the end, I wasn't sure how to feel. I didn't have that feeling like at the end of Return of the Jedi, where I was so relieved and joyful, and it was a very distinct kind of feeling that I was left with those other movies, or the Mandalorian finale. The finale to season 2 just came out recently, and I felt really awesome after the end of that finale. But with Last Jedi, I remember coming out going, man, there were some good scenes, but I have kind of a mix of feelings. I'm really not quite sure how to feel. And if you leave your audience with something very distinct, then it's going to make your entire story retroactively more memorable, because they've had this experience along with the characters. So again, just to sum up, consider your promises, find some way to address those. Consider all the things that you would like to see in the ending just for yourself, and see which ones actually fit. Be honest about that, which ones do fit and which ones are not going to work. Make your characters earn their ending, and then consider how you want to leave your audience. If you do those things, then you have a good chance of writing a really amazing ending. So I hope that these were helpful notes for you. I know that they were helpful for me, so I'm passing them along to you guys. Make sure to like this video if you like it. Put any of your ideas about good endings, what you like to see, down in the comments. And don't forget to subscribe for more English nerdy goodness. All right, I'll see you next Monday. Bye.